We've all gotten to know him these past few weeks and would like to share it with you. I've known him for a long time. When I met him, the first thing I noticed, he was very bright, 2 shades lighter than me. Since that time, we've become old and dear friends. I'm very dear to him, he's very old to me. We both started out as young comics. I was 8, he was 18, that was 20 years ago. We've been working and trying out acts at clubs. I'd invite him over to see my act. Now that he's a big star, he invites me over to see my act. But he's always been very funny. He was born in Peoria, where half the kids in town call him a superstar these days. The other half call him Daddy. He left Peoria to pursue his career in, from the first day that America recognized him as a stand-up comic, the critics knew he had something unique. Who else would have the nerve to do Bill Cosby's entire routine? Well, the rest is history. The newest part of history is Richard's marriage. He and his lovely wife, Deborah, have invested heavy in iron and steel. She irons, he stills. Well, I could go on, but I value my life. So I'd like to introduce the first member of our team, a gentleman to my far right, Mr. Johnny Witherspoon.
All right. This is new to me. I'm from Detroit, and when we say we roast somebody, we actually roast somebody. This is Richard's last show, and I'm sorry, you know, but I'm expecting to hear a lot from Richard Pryor. One reason I knocked up his sister, impregnated his sister, I'll say that. No, he's my man, my main man. He take care of his people, you know, and we want to talk to you about that raise, brother. Richard would like to thank all of the people who made it possible for him being on NBC, and that's you, so give yourself a hand. All right, and you know what NBC means? Nigger, be careful. It's true, a lot of white people think Richard is unsympathetic to the plight of white people. Not true, right? No, I think he's doing a great job contributing to that plight.
You still ad-lib great.
You use that word coon a lot. Can I call you a coon? But I've enjoyed working with Richard Pryor, and I'm glad he's married now. I know that I can send my kids to school and not be frightened. Be cool, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. And now we have a young lady, Allegra Allison. Allegra, please.
I just want to say how much I appreciate being a part of the Richard Pryor Show. And it's my privilege to read the following telegrams, some of the nicer ones that have been sent to Richard. Here's one from President Carter. Just wanted to tell you that Miss Lillian loves your show. We're putting her in a home in the morning. And here's another one, we just have 2. Dear Richard, thank you for canceling your dates in South Africa, especially the one with my daughter. Signed, Ian Smith.
Thank you, Allegra. Thank you. This next gentleman is Tim Reid. Tim, please.
Thank you, Mr. Milkman. Mooney. As it has been stated, this is the last show. I also have a telegram here that was sent to Richard. It says, and I may read it the way it was given to me. It says, Dear Richard, it's about time that these hunkies heard the truth, brother. Yeah, see, you're a man who stood up, who got down and told it like it was. Yeah, you know, you refused to lick the boots and stuck to your roots. Yeah. We know where you're coming from because, you see, you haven't forgot where you came from. Right on, brother. Signed, it was signed Miss Anita Bryant. I personally don't understand what all the problem is about what Richard, the remarks he made at the Hollywood Bowl. So after all, he's the same guy who used to hang around going, "Psst, hey, sailor, want to dance?" But besides that, Richard is my main man. I mean, he's really, truly a credit to his parents, Sammy Davis Jr. and Miss Jane Pittman. And I personally would like to thank Richard for the exposure he's given me, what little of it was. And a lot of people have asked me, said, what goes into making a show like this? And I told them, a lot of hard work and a total disregard for quality. There are millions and millions of people out there, millions, virtually millions. And I'm sure that right now at least 20 or 30 people are watching me. Folks, the ratings weren't too high. As a matter of fact, they were so low for this show, we were beaten out by a documentary on PBS entitled The Armadillo, Nature's Little Tank. And now back to you, Milkman.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Jersey Bay Cow. We have a young lady that's very talented, Marsha Warfield.
Hello, how are you? That's nice. Everybody's been saying such horrible things about this man, and I want to just set the record straight. Richard Pryor is a real humanitarian. He's raised a lot of money for young students. In fact, he's paid half the girls at the local high school to keep their mouths shut. When I first met Richard, he was single, and we dated a little bit. That was when I was much younger, and he was much older than he is right now. He thought I was 18, and I thought he was Santa Claus. You see, that was because every time I sat on his lap, he gave me something. Now I have a complete set of Welch's jelly glasses. But I was amazed, I really was, that he would date me. I couldn't believe it. At that time, I wasn't his type at all. I wasn't beautiful. I wasn't sexy. I wasn't white. But I do know that he learned about sex through trial and error. In fact, he was on trial for one of his errors. And now he's married to a beautiful, wonderful, warm woman. Didn't ask me nothing. I came to work and they told me Richard got married. I said, well, he still owes me $10. In fact, I hear that the honeymoon was a lot like the beginning or the opening of the first show. It was exciting, stimulating, adventurous, and she wouldn't let him take his clothes off either. But I would just like to say I love the man very much. We're just one big happy family here. In fact, I talked to my mother this morning, and I found that he is my father. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. We'd like to start on the other end now. A gentleman by the name of Robin Williams. Robin, please.
Thank you. Say what it was. Thank you. Get down, Funky. Okay, get back up. Here we go. Lolene, look at me. I'm on national TV. I'm so happy to be here, I could drop a log. Here we go. Okay. Well, boop, they bleeped that one. Here we go. I just want to say, Richard's come a long way in 18 years. Not funny, but true. Now, 18 years ago, they'd greet him in small town to, Let me take that back. Okay? 18 years ago, they'd greet him in small towns by tying a yellow ribbon around the old oak tree. Then they'd try and hang him with it. All I can say, though, is this man's a genius. Now, who else can take all the forms of comedy, slapstick, satire, mime, and stand-up, and turn it into something that'll offend everyone? No, but this man doesn't want any frills on his show. All he wants is a loose director, a tight script, and a warm place to rehearse.
Thank you, Robin. Thank you. We have a charming young lady by the name of Sandra Bernhard. Sandra?
First, I want to thank Richard for allowing me to pass as white. And I have a little announcement to make. Immediately following the World Series, the reunion of Richard's ex-wives will be held in Dodger Stadium. Tell me, how can anyone call Richard a racist? I can. Through my very own experience. 'Cause he made me do my Diana Ross impression. Piano Man's dead. He is an equal opportunity employer, of course. There is no question that Richard is a good family man. He's a real family man these days, and he gives his kids everything that he has. A flat nose and big lips. All I can say is Richard Pryor is his own man. Call him wild, controversial, exciting, mad, whatever. He has never sold out. And unlike some of us, you might just simply say, he shuffles to a beat of a different drummer.
Thank you, Sandra. Thank you. Flat nose and big lip. Used to be a very good white friend of mine. Now, a very exciting performer, Jimmy Martinez.
Thank you very much. First of all, I have an announcement to make. The cast party for the Richard Pryor show has been canceled. The cake and ice cream that Richie so graciously personally ordered for us was just busted at the Mexican border. I first met Ricardo or might I affectionately say, Tabuna. In New York, a few years back, we were working at the Improvisation. He was poor then, really poor. All he lived on was food stamps, really. And he told me, Jimmy, when I make it big, everything I have is yours. Well, he's made it big. And last week, he sent me $20 worth of food stamps. By the way, they were delicious. But Richie never forgot an old friend, never forgot me. He always hired me for all of his projects. When he got a television show, he got me on it. Fortunately, the multiple stabbings healed. When he got a movie, he gave me a part, a co-starring role, mind you. And in all modesty, I thought I stole that big scene when I said, "Park your car, sir." And when he got a new car, he gave me a rag to wax it with. And you know what? It was delicious. One last thing, though. Everybody's into roots. Okay. Well, I took it upon myself and I checked out Richard's roots as well as mine. And I found out that at one time, both our families were extremely close. As a matter of fact, at one time, we owned them.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you. And next, a really big man on the show, Vic.
Thank you so much, Mom. What a thrill and an honor. I feel delighted to be here to roast a very special man, Richard Pryor. To give you an idea of how the big stars in Hollywood really love this man, just take a look around all the big names we have here tonight. Compared to this group, Demon Wilson is still a biggie.
Excuse me, that's Demond.
I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with yo language, Paul. Personally, I'd like to see Richie go into politics. He has something very much in common with the former President Nixon. They both made some dirty recordings. His are selling better. You know, Rich has had, I can call him Richie. Richard has had a rough life. It hasn't been easy for him, as everybody knows. Some people were born with a silver spoon in their mouth. Richard was born with one in his nose.
Thank you. Thank you. And now, for a highlight, we have a a very talented man. He's also a good writer. My friend, Mr. David Banks, and AKA Reverend Banks. Give him a big round of applause.
Thank you, Paul. Kind of got sharp tonight, didn't you? That's a bad suit you got on, Jack. Who shined it for you? I need to sit up here and talk about my man like this. Here's a cat from Peoria. Put Peoria on the map. In fact, they're getting down to Peoria now, Richard. I come through Peoria, they really doing it now. I came through there playing post office now. You know the way they do it now? The girls stand on this side, and the boys stand on that side, and they come out in the center of the room. Now, if the girl is too ugly for you to kiss, you reach in your pocket and you give her a quarter. By the way, your sister made $9.07. I really go a long ways back with I go a long ways back with Richard. Go back to the days of the bus, you know. When I was driving the bus and he was riding the bus, you know. In fact, things was going so bad for Richard at that time, if they were selling Los Angeles for a quarter, all he could say is, ain't that cheap. On the for real side, the best way to properly assess Richard Pryor, so that you really understand the man, is that in order to clearly understand him, you must first omit logic. Once you do that, you can get close to it, right? Then you'll find that there's 80% pure gold. And the other 20%, they can be a little rough now. Right? That's what happened at the Hollywood Bowl. And they didn't understand him at all. And this cat, he loved everybody. Look at the show. He hired some of everything, Spanish, every nationality. He even hired Uncle Tom. You see Paul, don't you? Understand about Richard, you know him as a comedian and actor and so forth. You know, most people know Richard as a comedian and an actor and so forth, and that ain't even how he started. He started as an athlete. And he's a pretty fair athlete, too. Oh, yeah, he was an athlete. He wasn't no boxer. You can see that. He wasn't no boxer. But he used to get down on baseball and with his usual style, how you see how he can rap. I remember that I was with him, man, out at Dodgers when they had the annual tryout for the spring training, and all the ball players came out on the field. They had this long socks, the spikes. Richard fell out on the field trying out for the team. He had on some hip huggers. San Remo boots, Big Apple hat, cocked ace deuce. You know, the man came out on the field. He said, "What do you want out here?" He said, "I came out to the ball yard, baby, to try out for the team." He said, "What position can you play?" He said, "I can handle them all." He said, "You mean you can play all positions in baseball?" He said, "Yeah, I done already told you, man, what you keep asking me for." So the man said, "Well, I'm gonna ask him 2 or 3 questions and I'll shoot him on to the exit gate." So he said, "You can play all positions in baseball, right?" He said, "Tell me, can you play third base?" He said, "I'd turn a hot corner cool." He said, "Can you play shortstop?" He said, "I pick it like pepper, you know pepper's hot." He said, "Can you play second base?" He said, "In and out the hole all day, can't drink, don't miss." He said, "Can you play first base?" He said, "When I'm on the sack, you can't throw bad, man." He said, "Can you play center field?" He said, "I covered like the morning dew, you know that's all over." He said, "Can you catch?" He said, "In the crouch, throw BBs at second base, waist high, don't miss." He said, "Can you run?" He said, "A road runner comes second." He said, "Can you bat?" He said, "Inside my pitch down the middle all day, outside over the fence, Ken Pole." He said, "Can you pitch?" He said, "I ain't been in the stretch yet." He said, "What's your name, man?" He said, "Sweet Chocolate Brown is my name, shined up with Dewdrop Griffin, gonna live." Man said, "You too tough, man." He said, "Tell you what, you get on out in left field." He said, "What?" He said, "You get out in left field." He said, "Which way is that, man?" I want to say to you, my man, as your reverend, I want you to keep on keeping on. Victory is in sight. It may be so high you can't get over it. It's so wide you can't go around it. It's so deep you can't go under it. You got to go in the gate. I'm gonna tell you, in conclusion, he who sits on the red hot stove shall surely rise.
Thank you, Reverend Banks, thank you. Thank you for auditioning for your own show. And I remember that little comment you made about the Uncle Tom. I agree with you, but I have to say that he hired 2 Uncle Toms, because you are Uncle Remus. No, I just want to say, in conclusion, that was beautiful, Dave. That was very nice. I want to say that I want to talk about this man very seriously now, because I've known him for a long time. And Richard Pryor is a lot like a child. I'm saying that from my heart. He's a lot like a kid. And no, he is. And he's innocent in a lot of ways. In a lot of ways, he's not so innocent. But he's a beautiful human being, and I love him dearly. And I'm glad we did this. And I really mean that.
Thank you. I am thrilled. It's not often that amateur people get a chance to be on television, even 30 or 40 seconds, as they were. And the comments were brilliant. Spoon on the end, a man who nobody gives a shit about. Was cleaning out toilets, and we found him, he was making a sandwich. We said, Spoon, please, drop the doo-doo. Please. Please, we don't want to see black people doing this. Please come forth and join in the group of life. And he since then has become a big doorman at a fabulous hotel. If you're ever at the Hotel La Rico, you will see him there. He's there when you park the cars. He's the one with you vomit in his hand. No tip is necessary. Just regurgitate, and he will accept that fine. Next to him is a woman who's passed for white for years. Used to be a hoe in Detroit. 7 niggas I know fired her. Fag got her and let her loose. That's how she got to Hollywood. She came out here on a Greyhound, not a bus, a Greyhound. Next to her is a wonderful Tim. Tim, that's a great name for a black man nowadays. It's Tim, it's for the hippie racists. It's like Tom, but it's Tim. It's the same thing. He's a really clever man. He plays with himself in movies. We discovered him in a porno film because we wanted to give him a job because he had the shortest thing of any black man in America. And we didn't want white people to know we had little ones. So we hired Timmy Boy. Next sitting to him is a big black gorilla. who was at the zoo one day. we fixed her hair, and she's been acting a fool ever since. The only difference now, she cleans her cage. only difference. But I love her dearly. Next to her is what we call Miss Thing. We call him that with love and affection, as all of us know. Well, he hasn't let us down yet, has he? We've been friends a long time, and I sure wish you'd return my red handkerchief, because my wife's been wondering where it was. I hope it still has her perfume scent on it. But really, Paul, it's really been a pleasure working with you, because we worked together many years ago on the Red Fox show. We started writing together, and we walked into the office with the white man, and Paul what he did was sucked his dick. I must say, Paul had a sense of humor. He didn't let him come in his mouth. But seriously, Paul wrote most of the dialogue for everybody up here tonight, and he's a brilliant writer. And, we went once to. What was that man's name that we went to and we had to fight? The producer. Producer, the Bill. Shelton Leonard. Shelton Leonard. We walked in his office. We was there for an hour together. And Shelton Leonard picked our brains, and he said, thank you, and you can leave now. And I asked for the money. and Paul said, don't do that. Don't get us in no trouble now. I threatened to kick his ass, and Paul tried to join him. but we're dear friends, and this is all in fun. Next, just don't tell him about Maropasa. Next I move. Paul was with me once when I first fucked my first faggot. And he's been holding that over my head for 2 years. I fucked a faggot. I just want to say it now so nobody else can tell. I liked it. I would have married him, but he had to go away and get an operation. I'd like to move now, Paul, if you don't mind. To move to the other end to a white person who I give less than a shit about, who is a very brilliant man. I haven't seen anyone this funny since Jonathan Drake. Jonathan Drake, as you know, used to eat baseballs in the afternoon and fart footballs. And it's close. He's close to that. He's really funny. As you notice, he's trying out for Wolfman next week. He has all that hair on his hands, and it's obvious he jacks off funny because it's on the outside of his hands. He's another brilliant queen that we have on the show. And his closet is the Hollywood Bowl. But moving right along, I'd like to move to the next lady You may not can see her, but she's there. She's skinny. And, but in nowadays, they call that chic. I call it shit. It's that, thank you, and back to you wherever you want it. It's just been so great working with her because she comes up with great ideas. She's a lady that has ideas. She inspires the whole crew. It costs a lot, but we pay for it. What the hell? It's not funny, but it's good. Next to her is a dear friend of mine. Actually, I did know Jimmy in New York. We were stealing hubcaps together. And he was really funny. He was on heroin then. I wouldn't say that he was on heroin, but if you piss on him, he would get high. I don't know if that's the same. I just have a feeling it's not the same thing. It's just great, Jimmy, seeing you alive. That's the thing. Sitting next to him is a fat, ugly person. Who, without a doubt, is probably one of the ugliest white men I've ever seen in my life. I don't know if it was a contest between him and the skinny woman, I wouldn't know who to vote for. I would just have to flip a coin. And take your bets and you take your chances. But he has a wonderful sense of humor. If he only had his own teeth, so he could smile. He has a wedding band on, but Mrs. Hippo isn't here tonight. I imagine next time they roast someone, they will ad-lib. It's much more fun. Next and last and also least is a man that's taken me to more whorehouses than anyone. I first met him in the church. He tried to get an angel to sit on my face. He's a dear friend of mine. He has a Rolls Royce. You can see it outside. It's many colors. It looks like a rainbow. Blue, orange, green, and yellow, and purple. And it's very good, and it costs him an awful lot of money. His wife has to work hard to pay for them. He used to be an athlete. I believe he was, you were in the gym, weren't you? Used to do push-ups over Wilt Chamberlain. Something, no, he's not gay, although he rides side saddle. But we've been friends a long time. I have no reason to tell you why, but that's the way it is when you're black. You must have a nigger to be your friend. So he's the biggest nigger I know, and I chose him to be my friend. And it's just great. You dress really wonderful, Reverend. A little perspiration, or is that massingills running out of your hair? But all in all, when the deal goes down, that I really. I have a special place in my heart for everyone here. I really love them, and because they are brilliant people, and they've made the show possible. We worked 4 weeks together, and it's been hell in terms of whatever happened. I'd like to say something special to the man who makes the sets, to Roy. I can't remember Roy's name. Roy Christopher, and also Superlight. What's the motherfucker's name? What's his name? Lights. Yeah. the lighting man and I just don't happen to remember his name offhand. Huh? Ron Stecky. Lon Stecky. I don't give a fuck. He does his job, he gets paid. But this is the first show, as he came to me one day and said, it's the first nigger I've ever worked for. And I won't forget that line. But I also like to thank the cameraman who have done such a wonderful job and getting rid of the black cameraman. We started out with 5 black cameramen, now we have 1. It shows our progress is working. I also like to thank the people in the booth, our director, John Moffat, has a name like a puppet. He's a wonderful neurotic person who's going to die soon. And we keep him on because he has terminal guilt. And also, I'd like to thank our associate producers, Rocco Urbasi. He's Italian, and his father said to me, "Hey, nigga, fuck around, I break your balls, okay?" And that's why Rocco's been on the show so long, and I love him dearly. And in closing, the writers, Paul Mooney, who has worked with me a long time, is one of the most fabulous writers that I've ever worked with on any job that you could ever possibly have. We worked together a long time, and he's helped pull the show together and organize things and really kept it going, along with my dear friend David Banks, who is a person who can't write shit, but but he's just a funny motherfucker. That just says no right. And the other writers, from Scammers and from Scribbles, Bob Crimmins, Jeffrey, and Miss Booker Bradshaw, Jeremy, who else, man?
Arthur Brady Bunch Sellers.
Arthur Brady Bunch Sellers. I really wish I had their names really good because I haven't met them yet. They look at the credits tonight. They've been in a little room. They don't speak to black people. They just they write Bob Hope stuff, and Paul and David interpret it for me. And I think most of all, I'd like to thank all people for really enjoying me and making all this possible for me. It wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for y'all. And I thank you very much.